Today I am joined by Mr. Sukumar Srinivas, Managing Director, Mr. Alex Varghese, Chief Financial Officer, and Strategic Growth Advisors, our Investor Relation Advisors. We have uploaded our updated result presentation on the exchanges, and I hope everybody had an opportunity to go through the same. Let me begin with the current scenario and the demand outlook, followed by our Q1 performance. The current business environment continues to be very uncertain. Start-stop lockdowns impact visibility and delay recovery. The Tier 2, Tier 3 locations have been impacted lesser and provide some respite. However, the broader economy is not very buoyant. Banks and NBFCs are taking a very cautious approach. Overall working capital cycles are tightening. End customer segment sentiment is also dented, impacting ability and willingness to spend. Fresh capex plans are likely to be pushed out. All our segments have been impacted in varying degrees. Retail business is witnessing reduced walk-ins. The enterprise business customers have limited visibility. The channel business, though, is holding on. Our overall processing volumes are also down on account of the lower demand. We estimate FY21 demand to be at approximately 65% of FY20 levels. To address this, we have taken a number of measures. Primary among them is liquidity. We have kept a strong focus on collections and inventory and have seen good progress on this. Overall inventory and debtors have reduced by around 250 crores from the end of March to the end of June. Overall net debt and acceptances stood at 295 crores at the end of June. During this period, we have ensured timely payments for all our banking commitments, statutory commitments, and all our trade creditors. We have also worked on realigning our cost structure to match current business needs. Further store rationalization measures have also been undertaken, and we currently have 115 stores. We have been able to reduce our overheads by around 30%, and this will have a follow-through over the next few months. As the lockdown eased, there has been a gradual ramp-up in sales. For the month of April, we operated at 14% of the levels of last year, for May at 66%, and for June at 78%. Let me take you through the financial highlights for the quarter. Please note that due to the pandemic situation, this quarter is not comparable with the corresponding quarter of last year, as there was shutdown of activities for a considerable time during the quarter. Our overall revenue stood at 346 crores as compared to 639 crores for the quarter ended Q1 FY20, down by 46%. Retail revenue share stood at 60%, channel revenue share stood at 25%, and enterprise revenue share stood at 15%. Revenue from the retail segment degrew by 42%. Channel revenues recorded a lower decline of 8%. Enterprise revenue was impacted the most, with 74% decline in revenues as compared to the same quarter last year. Lower enterprise revenue was on account of limited visibility on future orders and postponement of activities and capex. Across locations, Tier 2 and Tier 3 places recorded lower revenue drop as compared to Tier 1 places. Revenue decline from Tier 3 locations was around 20% as compared to a decline of around 58% from Tier 1 locations. On the EBITDA and PAT, the EBITDA stood at a loss of 9 crores and overall we recorded a net loss of 25 crores for the quarter. This is the first quarterly loss ever in our 25 years history. Overall gross margins declined on account of higher share of channel sales, lower capacity utilization at processing units, and overall sales price realization getting impacted by trade channel undertaking inventory destocking for cash flow generation. Now let us focus on the segmental performance of the company. On the retail segment, the retail sales for the last quarter stood at 209 crores as compared to 360 crores in the same quarter last year. Average rental cost for leased outlets stood at 15.9 rupees per square feet as compared to 20.2 rupees for the same quarter last year. The total area for stores comes to around 5.2 lakh square feet with an average store size of around 4,500 square feet. Average ticket size per transaction was more or less flat at around the 28,000 rupee levels. Channel and enterprise sales for the last quarter Q1 FY21 stood at 137 crores. It contributed around 40% of the consolidated revenue of the company. Higher share was from channel business since the enterprise business has had a significant decline during the quarter. Let us now move to the outlook for the future. We believe that the revenue stream for Q2 FY21 will stabilize at around 65 to 70% of our historical Q2 revenues. Costs are being contained commensurate to the reduction in revenues and will have a follow-through over the next few months. Processing unit costs are also being contained as per lower capacity utilization. Overall outlook is positive for metals, which will help our channel and enterprise business as well as basic construction materials. There has been a continuous focus on reduction in borrowings, and this will continue. There is a pickup that we can see in the enterprise segment as well as in the tier 1 cities where we are seeing a slight pickup in demand. With these initial comments, I open the floor for discussions.
Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Any participant who has a question may enter star and 1. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. Our first question is from the line of Siddharth Rajpurohit from JHP Securities. Please go ahead.
Good morning, sir. And it's a fair performance in given the situation. So my first question is, what is credit sales as a percentage of it was and what is now in the retail and enterprise, sir?
See, the overall credit sales has come down now over the last quarter because our entire focus has been on ensuring more cash sales and focus towards cash, ensuring that the overall debtors also keep coming down. If you would have seen, our overall debtors has declined substantially over the last quarter. So this overall share of credit sales has actually gone down during this period.
Right. So I just wanted to know, sir, that what was the share in retail and enterprise earlier and what is now, sir?
See, the overall, just one second. See, as overall, if you look at the business, we will be at around on the retail side is more cash-oriented kind of sales. The channel and enterprise is where we have more element of the credit coming into play. The enterprise is larger part of the credit, and the channel is a slightly lower part of the credit. Overall, we can see possibly around 30-odd%, 30 to 40% would be credit kind of currently.
And that would have come down to say 10-15% now?
No, it is currently at these levels. It was higher earlier.
Okay, it is currently at this level. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And see, all these parties are our regular parties. So wherever we are giving credit is only to our long-standing customers. So none of the current customers are being given credit. New customers definitely do not get any credit.
Right, sir. Right. And sir, on cost rationalization measures, I see that there is a lot of measures taken on the employee side. So this cost, when it will rewind, and what is the sustainable cost saving, if you give some broad idea and if you can quantify also?
See, if you would have seen, our costs have actually fallen by almost 45% between the 2 quarters, between last quarter to this quarter. But there would be some one-offs that may be lying there. And as we have quantified in our presentation as well, that we see that currently a sustainable kind of a reduction would be at around the 30% levels. And we'll keep focusing on that in the coming quarters.
Okay. Of the overall cost percentage reduction, 30% is sustainable.
30%, yeah.
Okay. And sir, is this gross margin that shrunk significantly because, like you rightly said, that the channel was very aggressive on cash flow generation. So has it come back? Has it normalized?
Sorry, could you repeat the question? We couldn't really understand.
There was a significant sharp drop in gross margin, sir, which is, like you said, that there was because of the channel was very aggressive in cash flow generation, so they were selling at a lot of discount. So is this thing normalized now, sir, to some extent or to a large extent?
It has normalized now.
It has completely normalized, sir, or to a large extent is normalized?
I would say to a large extent. I see that in July, I think the normalization started, and definitely between August and September, that situation has normalized.
Okay. And sir, given the current situation, sir, how do you see Tier 1 improving, and also the overall operations? By when do you see that overall operations would also normalize?
See, I would say that, as Siddharth mentioned, that we are projecting a 65 to 70% of normal business compared to last year. That's number one. Number two is this quarter historically is a monsoon quarter, and in general as a country it's good that we've had good monsoon. That means it augurs very well in the agri sector. So definitely the post monsoon that I'm talking of October, November, December onward, which we see will be very good from the agricultural side. We also saw a very good, one of the reasons probably why Tier 3, etc. was doing well, even at the, whatever little sale we were able to generate in April, was also because of these small towns where we found that there was some demand from the agri side. Then normally, so we do see a positive take post the monsoon over there. Coming to the Tier 1 cities, certainly things have started improving post this, on and off lockdown, which was there till probably July. Like Bangalore itself had a couple of weeks where it was shut down, and you still have these containment zones and things like that. So if a store happens to be in a containment zone, then you're forced to be shut down for a week and so on. Luckily, we've not had that experience so far, but then that does prevent people to walk into the store. So we do see about a 50-55% normalization from what we saw in the first quarter, which was barely 30-35 in the Tier 1. So that has improved to around 50 currently.
Okay. And sir, my final question, sir. So although we are in the consolidation phase in the number of stores that we see and they are coming down, and like you said in the last quarter also it will continue, but seeing the current situation where number of Tier 2, Tier 3 cities are seeing good demand, do you see any opportunity of setting up any stores in those regions, say hub and spoke model which you follow if you see a nearby area? Anything?
No. In this year, we are very clear that our focus is to conserve, to be very stringent in the cash flows. We do not want to really spend whatever little capex we had spending of certain stores, etc. last year. That's all that will be the follow-through that we are doing this year. So we are clear that if we need to close some more unviable stores for the current season, we may still continue to do it. But if we have to reopen fresh in the next year, I think we would go ahead and do that. I mean, this year I think it's very, very clear that we are very clear that our balance sheet is a focus. And if we can break even as an overall, as an organization in the year, we'd be very happy. And so there is a very clear thought process behind the way we are approaching our costs as well as new store openings.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, and all the best to the team.
Thank you. We'll take our next question from the line of Maulik Patel from Equirus Securities. Please go ahead.
Thanks for the opportunity, and good morning, gentlemen. I just missed the opening comment. So, the gross margin has come down to 98% from the earlier level of 92 or 91%. So, have we sold the inventory on such a large discount?
Yeah, I'm Maulik.
Yeah, hi.
Yeah, a couple of things that happened, Maulik, in the first quarter was because of the panic that happened in the month of end of March and in April. I think a lot of metal prices itself, there was some decline. So I think that was also part of the inventory disposal, because normally what happens in the month of March, because it's usually in a normal year, it's a year end, and you do tend to have a slightly higher inventory because you do have to oblige certain of our suppliers across the spectrum. So unfortunately, the last 10 days of March, that affected our disposal of inventory as well as sales quite significantly, because the 10 days in March is a very, very important part of any organization in this country. Because of the year-end, budget closing, your sale also, there's an incremental flip, which means your inventory would have gone down, etc. So yes, there was a little bit of a flurry in getting disposal of the inventory in the first quarter in order to ensure that the cash flow position improved and kept us, we clearly believed, it's not it's a cliche statement if I say cash is king. So I think we firmly believe that, and I think that was the reason why there was a drop in the gross margin.
So now, as we say, let's assume that as per the presentation, we did only 28 CR revenue in April, then the 150 CR in May, and 170 around in June. So if on an internal basis, has the gross margin has improved from April to June, and let's say about the July also, or as of now, what we speak in month of August?
Yes, it has.
Is it now on this earlier level of 92? So this the gross margin is in the range of around 8% or so of the earlier level.
I think we are currently in the 5 to 6% on it.
Okay, so still we are lower than the earlier gross margin level.
Of that's because the channel sale is still a little more aggressive because of cash flow, and the enterprise business is much lower still.
Yeah. And how is in the retail and in terms of a walk-in or any efforts you are making for an online sales as the people try to avoid visiting the stores?
Yeah.
So any significant any new initiatives we have taken to push the sales through this online channel?
Yes, definitely. We already had the online channel going in the past. That is still aggressively being pushed. So, that's a letter which we have not let down. An initiative we have not stopped, and we have a considerable more focus on the same.
Okay. And in the first quarter, there was not too much of COVID impact in the southern states, particularly Kerala, which was our second largest contributor. But now that the COVID is there in most of the southern states, have you seen any change in the momentum?
It's a very peculiar thing, because if you look at the traffic on the roads, it seems to have gone up despite the number of cases going up. So I think there is a momentum in one. It's a very peculiar kind of a situation. Like you rightly said, the number of cases in the south, particularly Karnataka, etc., have climbed up very steeply in this last month or so. And we don't know when it's going to abate. So there is a sort of, I ultimately believe that people, the lockdown unlock has helped. If people have to work here, you can't be sitting at home. Now it's a balancing between you look at COVID as your friend and move on and take the precautions, and life has to get back to normal. So I think it's a cautious sort of a movement. I won't say things like Siddharth in his opening statement made it very clear that things are not really normal as such right now. I think it's a sort of a cautious optimism that we can keep at this stage.
Okay.
But work in a lot of sites has started, which was totally dead in the first quarter. So a lot of building sites, there is some work that has started. So I think in a way I would say in the cities particularly, there is, like I said earlier, about at least in terms of activity on building sites, construction, probably a 60% startup starting has resumed.
Sure. Great. Thank you, and wish you all the good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. A reminder to our participants, if you wish to ask a question, you may press star and 1. The next question is from the line of Jaspreet Arora from Equentis PMS. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for the opportunity, and hope everyone is doing good. My question was on in terms of the retail within that. One is you mentioned that the overall momentum looks to be around 65 to 70%. When you're saying the outlook, that's largely referring to Q2, right? I'm just trying to the last slide where you said 65-70% of normalized Q2 revenues. I hope it is for Q2 of current year and not for the balance part of the financial year.
Yeah, I would say definitely yes for Q2 and maybe up to Q3. I mean, not like to hazard a guess beyond because we thought things would normalize faster when somebody asked me these questions in May. But, it's sort of prolonging July. Now we are into August. So definitely, I would say this is true for Q2. And let us hope that things really start picking up post-November.
Sure. And when you're saying this, you're referring to across the three segments, or are we saying that like witnessed in first quarter, possibly the trend would be the same, where enterprise I think has fallen much sharper and retail is while channel is the on the other side fallen the least. The broad trend would remain the same. Is that what you're envisaging?
Yes. The broad trend would remain the same.
Sure. And within retail, sir, if you could just highlight how, I'm sure there would have been certain trends or certain behavioral aspects that your team would have noticed in terms of the purchasing pattern till March and versus what's happened in June, July, and August in terms of the touch, the feel, the atmosphere that you're providing where he or she feels comfortable for the walk-ins. So that is one, how comfortable he or she is. That is one aspect. The other is conversion. If 10 were entering in earlier and 2 were kind of, or maybe like 5 were walking out with a particular, a strike rate and a ticket size, versus now, is it like 8 out of 10 with a much higher ticket size? What are some of those aspects that would have seen a change? If you could highlight that, please. And what categories would it be much higher, and what would be lower, like a tile? What we are hearing, the tile guys are saying we are 80%. Till normal paints are saying we are 65%. Like a faucet guy, maybe 90%, and some people are like, like APL Apollo said, we are just about normal today. We are just doing exactly the same as we were doing in August last year. So if you could highlight product-wise also, please. Yeah,
sure. So first is the question you asked about people walking into the stores. See, we have, like we maintained earlier, we've got about 3 categories of customers. One, we have the walk-in in terms of an individual, an IHB. Second, you would have the influencer kind of a sale. And the third is a slightly builder and, that kind of a sale. So as far as the third segment, we are just seeing some pickup from July onward, which was almost dormant in the first 3 months. We are definitely seeing some pickup. In this case, what happens, in that there is a whole host of those kind of buyers. It could be a hospitality sector, it could be the health sector, like hospitals, etc. Then you have the typical builder category. So obviously, as you know, the hospitality sector is down, but some maintenance is carrying on. So those kind of people really don't come to the store. They have a repeat purchase, so it goes on the basis of models that they already know and they buy. So and it's also the same in the other two. The influencer segment, which is largely plumber, architects, etc., we do still have some walk-ins. The plumber segment is almost, I would say, about 80-85% back to normal in terms of coming into the store and looking at it. The architect segment is still probably less than 50 as to what it used to be. And as far as the individual IHBs, we are seeing that there is about, again, around 60-70% compared to the earlier numbers of walk-ins that are coming. In terms of conversion, we do have around 50% in terms of people who are buying and going, whatever be the ticket size. The other aspect, which in the individuals and the architects, which we see is the digital platform helps a lot because they do a lot of their shopping online. They're not really buying online as such, but they use the digital platform like a catalog. So they spend a little less time when they come to the shop because they've already gone through a lot of it on the catalog and they want to possibly see a physical sample and then the purchase time has improved in terms of the amount of time they really spend in a shop. Earlier, if a family came in, they would probably spend 3 hours, 4 hours with 3 repeat visits before they really bought. Now I think that first part of the shopping or the first part of the experience is done in their home, and they come here for a final look, and then if they made up their minds to buy, it's bought and they move on. So, and the other thing interesting in terms of some of our faucets and things like that, the kind of products that have gained momentum, which was really not big earlier, is that, the touch-free, where you have the touchless kind of taps and various other kind of equipment, where in homes, generally, these were not being used. Offices, they were being used partly. But now we are finding a huge incremental demand in these kind of products. So this is one change in terms of products. I'm talking about the plumbing, sanitary area. Then coming to in paints, etc., we have not seen any significant. We are anyway not a very big player there, so we have not seen any significant uptake on that. Then coming to the steel and the construction items at a retail level, we are seeing what we mentioned in that 65 to 70% kind of a demand uptake. So, based on this broad assessment is where we came at that 65-70% on a overall general offtake that we are seeing. Have I sort of answered your question?
Sure. Yeah, to a great extent. So within the broad categories of, where we would be catering multiple, so one is obviously which is going maybe end use towards the infra and stuff like that. And second being on the projects, which is more on the builder side, as you said, and third is obviously the home improvement, which may be more of a replacement demand. So would it be fair to assume that the infra may be least impacted, while projects stroke new home sales would be the most still, which is most in pain, while the home improvement would be somewhere in between. So like 100% normalcy for infra, 80% or more for home improvement, and 60% or less for new project sales, stroke new home sales. Would that assessment be right?
Yeah, possibly, because we are really not in a big way into the infra side of it. So I really can't comment whether it is 100% back to normal, which I doubt. But I can't make a very assertive comment on the numbers over there. But yes, as far as the other two segments, I think you're fairly right. But we also hope that the individual new home constructions, which could have been put by a lot of people on hold in this quarter, we are quite hopeful that post the monsoon season, because a lot of people would not like to also start in the monsoon season, the fresh digging and so on. We hope that post the, October, November, we hope that there would be some uptake in the individual home kind of a segment.
Understood. And sir, my last question would be on savings. I think you've mentioned that we've saved around, 30 or 40% on the fixed cost side. So I see on a YOY basis, and that's what I have in front of me, the other expenses moving down from 16 odd crores to 9 odd crores. So just trying to understand. This may be a one quarter phenomenon, but how much of this is sustainable that you would like to see happening for the next 3 quarters, and what are some of those areas that we would be ending up saving on the fixed cost side, including employee costs, if you could have.
Yeah. So we have let's say multiple heads there, so your employee costs, rentals, etc. Some of these, as you rightly mentioned, could be one-offs. For example, April was a sharper reduction that we have taken in all these cost heads. What we feel is that on a monthly run rate basis, while for the quarter it was more like a 45% decline, on a monthly run rate basis, this is more at around that 30% kind of a thing. And we'll keep following up on this number in the coming months. So we hope that this will maintain.
Okay. So just to make it a little more simpler, so our employee and other expenses was 30 crores same quarter last year, and this quarter it is 16 crores. So the saving is 14. So I'm sure as you said, April would have seen much of that savings and much of May. In other words, is there some number that you have in mind, let's say 10 crores of annual savings or 20 crores of annual savings that could easily be achieved because of not spending as much on A, B, C things for the current financial year?
Absolutely. So if you look at this cost structure, we had almost 30 crores of, between GP and EBITDA, we had a 30 crore kind of a cost structure.
Right.
It has come down to around 16-17 crores.
Right.
So this should, stabilize at much lower levels, and our overall endeavor is that this should, in some sense, match our overall top line that we are targeting, so that our overall profitability continues to be at similar kind of level.
Sure. Got it, Siddharth. So thank you so much for that. I'll come back if more. All the best.
Thanks.
Thank you. A reminder to our participants, if you wish to ask a question, you may enter star and 1. Our next question is from the line of Ridhima Chanda from Roha Asset Managers. Please go ahead.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. Can you give us a breakup in all segments, construction material and plumbing, sanitary, interior, exterior?
So this is on the retail side. So on the retail side, we have construction materials, which would be around 65%. You have plumbing and flooring, plumbing and sanitary ware and flooring at around 15%. We would have interior exterior category, which will be again at around 15%. And we have a segment called agriculture, where we look at tier 2, tier 3 location, which will be around 5%.
Okay, so in this electrical also included in the in which segment electrical is included?
Electrical will get consumed somewhere in that plumbing, sanitary ware, flooring, and electrical. It will be subsumed around that.
Okay. And in the general scenario, what is the replacement demand for products at the retail level?
It depends on the category actually. So generally what we see is that especially some of the categories that we have, like sanitary ware, etc., a lot of replacement demand comes up because, let's say, if you are moving home, rentals are being put out, etc. A lot of tenants would want this to be replaced. So generally, a 5-odd year kind of a replacement cycle is what we can see. There are certain other categories where, for example, let's say tiling, or when you're doing up your bathrooms, etc., that could be a slightly longer gestation. When you're doing up your kitchens and bathrooms, that could be more a 10-year kind of a replacement cycle, because a lot of this plumbing, etc., tends to develop seepages over a period of time.
Yeah.
So that could be the broad kind of replacement demand for us.
Okay. And our capex would not be much this year, but going forward, what would be our sustainable capex if we open new stores also going forward? Not in FY21, in FY22, or in the next 2 to 3 years?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think as the demand environment picks up, we would be more than keen to further start on the expansion side.
So what sustainable capex we are looking at?
Okay, I think as of now, we are more focused on the current, in the immediate future. So once we are, out of this and we have a sense of normalcy prevailing, then we'll get back to you with in terms of future expansion plans.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Priyanka Singh from Atidan Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah. I have couple of questions. The first one would be like, as we are moving forward in July and August, what would be the likely sales level for these months as compared to the last year?
So these would be at similar kind of levels, at that 70-odd% kind of level.
Okay. And Also, can you give the breakup of EBITDA between retail and channel and enterprise business?
Yeah. So the EBITDA breakup is at a segment level. For retail, we had a loss of around 2 crores, and for channel enterprise, a loss of around 4.5 crores.
Okay. And the last question would be, like looking into the current scenario, do we see any sales or inquiries for our digital channels? And can this become a meaningful medium of sales going forward?
See, what we see is that a lot of the discovery actually happens on our online platform, and we have been seeing some organic traffic also building up. So that helps us in terms of generating the initial inquiry, engaging with the customers, and eventually a lot of these customers either place the orders online or they would want to be guided to the nearest store. So given the fact that we have a lot of stores in our network, we are able to guide the customers to the nearest network and help them complete the sale.
Okay, and to this, just wanted to ask, like, how do you see Q2 panning out as compared to this quarter?
So Q2 will be at, as we mentioned, it will be at around the 65-70% level as compared to last year. Our focus continues to be on the balance sheet side and ensuring that we become a cash flow. I mean, we are targeting and we are very hopeful of being cash flow positive for the first half of the financial year.
Thank you. That was helpful. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. A reminder to our participants, if you wish to ask a question, you may enter star and 1. Our next question is from the line of Anita Jain from Arya Securities. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Good morning. My question is that what percentage of stores are currently operational going into Q2 FY21? Can you split in the working capital requirement blockage for retail business and channel and enterprise business?
So your first question was, how many stores are operational, right?
Yeah, how much percentage of stores are currently operational for quarter 2?
Yeah, so we are pretty much more or less operational, unless otherwise there's some local restriction or some local lockdown measures that come in. So other than that, we are pretty much operational. You had a follow-on question?
Yeah, so can you split in the working capital requirement or blockage for retail business and channel and enterprise business?
No, we don't see any blockage of working capital as such. I mean, in fact, our overall limits have been coming down.
Yeah, and in fact, we are talking of trying to achieve a cash flow surplus in this by this quarter end. So I think we are okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much. That was good.
Thank you. We'll take a next question from the line of Ritesh Barjatia from Asian Market Securities. Please go ahead.
Hi. Thanks for the opportunity, sir. So, sir, my question is with regards to, because of this pandemic, what are the key structural changes you find in conducting your business in the terms of like your target segment, product offering, discounting level, margin? So leave apart the temporary phase, but what are the key structural changes you believe that will remain in the system for a slightly longish period?
See, what we feel is that some, as Mr. Subbara also mentioning earlier, some of these aspects where pandemic is basically one of the biggest fears has been touch-based kind of passage of this to people. So in that sense, one of the things that we clearly feel is that more touchless kind of products or sensor-based products definitely will have a more better offtake with the customers. A lot of solutions, etc., in terms of making all the surfaces germ-free. A lot of product companies have come up with products which are which help to keep the surfaces clean. I think those are things that will start having a better impact. I don't know how much of an impact it will have in terms of customer psyche, in terms of a larger share of people looking to work from home and corporates also kind of encouraging that. So it may have a different impact in terms of commercial real estate as well as residential real estate. So I think these are some of the things that we are seeing right now.
Okay. And in the terms of discounting level, what you've seen, or in the terms of like cash level dealings, which is increased in the enterprise segment. So do you think that will continue for a longish period, or it will just a matter of 1 or 2 quarters?
I think it's not a long-term phenomenon. I think the first quarter itself was where discounting was at a higher level because of the overall panic and the need across the industry and across the economy for generating cash flows. But I think that has pretty much stopped. There are no more deep discounts unless, yes, there are still a lot of people like malls and high-end retail that could be impacted. I certainly believe that there will be an impact on high street retail and particularly malls as of now. And I think that could sustain for another 6 months to 1 year. I think till a vaccine is found and till people really start boldly getting into crowded kind of destination. So, but in our product, I think we don't see any more deep discounts or any other than whatever normal discount. I think we have stopped giving any kind of additional discounts.
Okay. And lastly, that urban and rural market related shift of what we have seen during last 3 months, will that be a sustainable, or again the urban will become more going ahead?
I think urban will pick up. I am quite confident probably by the next year, the next financial year, urban should be back to track. I mean, we already have seen a pickup between June, the last quarter and this quarter, the first 2 months. So I think life has to go on. Like I mentioned earlier that, there is some amount of life has to go on wherever some amount of, like you mentioned about work from home, etc. Some of those cultures could sustain even in the longer run. But otherwise, in terms of, this year would be a tough year. But I think after that, once, there will be a normalcy that will return.
And lastly, that touchless and sensor-based product you're talking about, how much price differential is there between this and traditional other products, which in the absolute term, is it a very big amount or just a smaller absolute amount?
No, it's not a very big amount actually. It depends on the category of the product, but it could be anywhere between 25 to 50%.
Okay. Got it. Thanks. That's all from my side.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any participant who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1. As there are no further questions from the participants, I'm sorry, we have a question from the line of Abhishek Agarwal from Citi Finmart. Please go ahead.
Hello. Good morning, sir. Sir, my question is, can you briefly highlight our strategy on our 3 segments in next 2 to 3 years? Though I understand that enterprise business and your channel business will reach at the optimum level where you don't want to reduce so much. So what is our strategy and focus area on your retail segment?
On the retail continues to be our biggest category and will continue to have the biggest focus from our side. Yes, in the near term there will be some ups and downs that we come through because of this unprecedented situation. But broadly, in terms of our thought process, in terms of growing the company forward, broadly we will continue with retail as the biggest focus, and obviously enterprise is a very significant contributor.
To grow our retail business, how different is our strategy compared to other players, mainly from unorganized players, so that we can grow our retail segment more on the other geography side also, and in the existing geography where we are present right now?
See, one of the things that we are also seeing is that especially on the retail side, the customers also are looking for a trusted place to buy these products from. And given that the additional thing now is that you do not want to go around to too many places to check products and compare products. So the choice, the set within which you will be making the choice is reducing. So we feel that it is a good opportunity for us to be a part of that smaller choice of locations from which the customer is looking to buy the product. The other thing is that because we are not a one-store operation or only a single city operation, so we have an ability to offer more number of products, more number of brands, and more number of overall product categories to a customer. So it becomes easier for them also to procure products from us. Many times we get customers in city A who are doing a project in city B, and that also is something that we can actually cater to. So there are a lot of benefits that come from scale, which we can definitely leverage over a period of time. So I think we will clearly stand out in terms of a competition which is largely fragmented in this space.
Okay, sir. Sir, and one more thing, do you see construction material will dominate in the revenue going ahead, or we are looking at diversify more into other product category? What level are you looking at after 3 years on revenue segment-wise, product segment-wise?
See, overall, our aim is that the share should start mimicking the share of revenues that come from a home. But as of now, I think these are the trends that we see will continue to share.
Okay, sir. And what data and inventory days you are envisage in the next 2 to 3 years in the retail segment?
We generally want to operate at less than 1 month in terms of our overall inventory, and debtors possibly there is all on the retail side. We're looking to focus in terms of cash sales and ensuring that we build a healthy business out there.
Okay. So can we expect that in retail segment our data days can significantly come down, because I understand it's around 30 to 60 days, between 30 to 60 days. And as we are moving to the retail segment, so can we see that it will reduce significant?
It will happen. Definitely, it will happen over a period of time. So that's the broad focus for us as well, to focus more and more on cash sales.
Okay, then this is from my side. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you. I now hand the floor back to Mr. Siddharth Mundra for closing comments. Over to you, sir.
Thank you everyone for joining us. I hope we have been able to answer all your queries. In case you require any further details, you may please contact us or our investor relation advisor, Strategic Growth Advisors.